think back at the crises we've gone through in the past as a country. Think about the Second World War. No two crises are the same. What did that government do after 1945? It said, OK, we got big debts, but we're not going to lower our ambitions for our country. We're going to raise our ambitions. And it built a National Health Service. And actually, there was, it was a Labour government, but both parties were saying we need big change in our country. And I'm not comparing coronavirus to the war, but it has been an appalling 18 months, 15 months for our country. So many people have lost their lives. All of us have been affected. We owe it to ourselves to look at our country, the kids who need catch-up tuition, the public services that need investment, the key workers that need to be paid properly, and to think big. Why not? We made our institutions. Why can't we remake them? And that's what my book is about, basically.
Now, I look at you, and I look at your head of hair. Now, I used to particularly admire the fact that you had very good black hair, and in the middle of it was that signature grey sort of brush.
This is a big idea, Matt.
Yes.
Go on.
Okay, the grey has spread.
Yes.
You look greyer.
Yes.
Certainly in terms of your hair.
Yes. I mean, you're not doing so well. You're not doing so well yourself.
No.
Anyway.
But so you look a bit wiser.
All right.
Okay, so in your grey wisdom, what are the big ideas? Give me the three biggest ideas in this book that you've come up with.
I'd say the three biggest ideas are build social housing at scale to tackle the housing crisis, which we haven't done as a country for 40 years. Tackle the climate crisis, but recognise it's not just about avoiding disaster. It is about creating millions of jobs across our country, doing the work that needs to be done, insulating homes, cutting air pollution, creating a better world, not just avoiding that disaster. And it is also about rewriting the social contract of work and family, giving dads proper time off when their kids are born, giving mothers proper maternity leave as well. Because that isn't just good for kids. And by the way, a national childcare service alongside it, that isn't just good for kids. It's the best investment we can make in our economy. It will make for a happier country. They're just three of the ideas in the book.
Now, a lot of those ideas are ideas that actually many Tory MPs could get behind, and the Labour Party could get behind. Jeremy Corbyn would say, well, that's exactly what I've been going on about. Keir Starmer would say the same thing. So where do your big ideas differ from the big ideas that are currently making the rounds in the House of Commons?
I think it's partly, and I've done this book, I'm the shadow business secretary, but I've done this book not as a front bencher. I started as a backbencher because I think there is an issue for our politics, which is, are we acting at the scale that is required? So take this issue of housing. Governments of both parties have failed to build social housing in the last 30 or 40 years at scale. And we talk about social housing in the thousands or the tens of thousands, but to solve the housing crisis, we need to build it in the hundreds of thousands a year, right? And governments, but both parties can say we want to build 300,000 homes. That's what this government says. We're not going to do it unless we change our view on social housing. Take this issue of the climate crisis. Unless we invest at a much bigger scale. Now, it's not just about investment. It's also about saying, okay, we've done things in a particular way in the past, but do we need to carry on doing them in the future? Take this issue of devolving power in our country. Are we really going to devolve power to regions, to cities, to towns, or are we going to just fiddle around the edges? So I think the reason I've written the book is because I feel like we used to think big as a country. I actually think Brexit is a big idea. I didn't support it, but I think it is a big idea.
Have you embraced it?
Yes, you've got to embrace it because, that argument's over. And we've got to build a post-Brexit future. But
is it a big idea or is it a big opportunity?
Well, I didn't see it as an opportunity. I now see it as a necessity.
Right.
It's happened and we've got to build the future. There's no point in sort of bleating on about it. We had the referendum, we had a general election that was a decisive result. But I think there's something, Matt, about our politics. And by the way, this is not me saying I was right in 2015. I think I wasn't bold enough in 2015 when I was the leader, which says, okay, there are some things we can't do anything that are just hard to tackle. We're always going to be an unequal country and there's just nothing we can do about it. That sort of inequality is just stuck in the system. Well, why should it be stuck in the system? Well, the climate crisis, well, yeah, it is a massive problem, but we can't do the action at the scale that's necessary. I'm saying you've got to, we made our institutions and we can remake our institutions.